do I pay my bills?
Hello, 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 my friends, and welcome to Price Check Episode 10. We made it, the big 1-0, double digits. My name is Octavian. For those of you unfamiliar with the series, I am going to be taking a whole tab worth of unidentified loot, going through it, pricing it, and then listing it up, so that the series is really intended so that people can learn price checking through example by watching what I search for, what's worth what, and then following my example and pricing their own gear. I will be talking through all the different reasoning behind what I'm trying to sell. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get IDing. I also save a let me put one more dagger there. I save a few items of interest that I've already identified and I know have some value, just in the case that there are no good items in this whole pile of loot here. But that hasn't happened yet. We're not starting off strong though. No life on this means that it's not going to sell at all. At 9 life is a similar story. 17 is very low. The accuracy roll on this isn't bad, but outside of that, it's not worthwhile. 75 life, 44 mana, some fire damage. If that had a resistance, it might sell, and even so, we could possibly sell it for like a chaos, because we are in a mind over matter meta, but it's not a great base. It doesn't have a resist. I don't really think at this point in the league that it's gonna be moving from my shop. Okay, resistance, nothing else. Nothing to speak of here, except for maybe the crit multi. 3% ES is very low. On a Breach Ring, you're generally looking for a good rarity roll, because that's really nice to have doubled if you're going to be doing Breach Lord domains. Damage rolls are great, because of course those are nice to have doubled, but you also need resistances in life, because you're still looking to cover those bases, regardless of what kind of ring base you're going for. So this one obviously doesn't fit the bill. Ooh, that could have been real nice with a good life roll and maybe a higher wed roll. This is very close to what you're looking for in a belt. Resists are awesome, reduced flask charges is amazing, wed is great, but it doesn't have a life roll, so we probably can't sell it. Some stats, some ES, some wed. I don't think any of these numbers are really high enough to warrant a sale. And there's nothing that we want on this. On a tower shield, you want a lot of life. That's what somebody who's going for a rare tower shield is going to be looking for. Life, resists, you'll hear me repeat that quite a lot. No life, no sale. 6 life, no sale. Though 20% increased flash charges gained, I think that's top end for that roll. So at least it had one thing going for it. On a jeweled foil, you want a lot of attack speed, no matter what kind of jeweled foil you're looking for. But if you want a fizz jeweled foil, you need high fizz rolls, flat and percent, and hopefully also crit or crit multi. And on an LE one, you need multiple high elemental damage rolls, and we didn't get either of those things, obviously. Attack speed isn't bad in an imbued wand, but it doesn't have anything else, and that's just got nothing at all. 30% move speed undone by a +3 life roll. Makes me sad. No, those ES rolls are incredibly low. 41% wed is moderately impressive, but I'm looking for spell rolls on these daggers for the most part. Oh, and Navali doesn't have space for that last dagger, but it is garbage. There you are, darling. Alright. So nothing successful from the first batch, but fear not. I do have a bunch of items saved, just in case this whole tab is as disappointing. Disappointing? That's not a word. Just in case the whole tab is as disappointing as that first set of items was. I'm really debating not picking up Siege Axes anymore. They've been as unsuccessful for me as imbued ones, but are twice the size. So likely you won't be seeing too many of those in the future. No life, no deal. That's got a lot of garbage. 13 all-res caught my attention, especially in a diamond base. Diamond is basically the best ring base. There's a lot of builds that are going to be looking for that, because it provides quite a lot of damage. For anything going crit, no thank you. 25 move speed, but the resistances are low and there's no life. And there's no move speed on those boots, so get rid of them. A lot of other things also missing, but that was the first thing I noticed. Nothing to speak of there. 20 life, goodbye. 37, no. It's a lot of stats, but it's basically no resists. And the life roll is too low to sell. And that's pretty garbage. On a shield, you're looking for life resists. The Imperial Buckler is actually a really nice base because it gives you 6% movement speed, but you can also go for, I can't remember, but there's a spiked shield that gives you spell dodge, which is kind of nice. We'll augment that, sure. Very low fizz damage. Nothing to speak of. 30 movement speed, 86 life, a little bit of resists. This is our first success, which is a little depressing, but not bad. We can definitely sell these. 33% fizz is not very high. No attack speed, no crit multi. None of the things I'm looking for, really. All right, another pile of trash for the most part, but we can augment this jewel, hope for a life roll. No, we can't get a life roll because life is a prefix and flaming is a prefix, so maybe it's not worth the time to augment it. Yeah, it's just going to give me that. All right. My bad. And 30 move speed, 86 life, and meh resists. I'm going to start you at 5C. And we'll move it down over time. And where's my tab there? Hopefully one of these siege axes proves me wrong, but I've not had good luck with them, and they are rather large. Might hide them in my filter. All right. The luck does not turn. Not what we're looking for. No attack speed. This is the first thing I check for when I look at one of these axes is whether or not it has attack speed, and if it doesn't, that kind of puts a real strain on the rest of the rolls. They have to be really, really good to be able to sell. That's got nothing to speak of. 56 life, some crit multi, some lightning damage. That life roll's a little too low to sell just on the merits of the rest of the damage on this amulet. Dang, that is really bad. 93 life and a little bit of fire res. At this point in the league, I don't think this will sell, even if I vault it. Well, if I vault it and hit +1 endurance, it might, but I don't think it's worth the cost of the vol for the very low chance. That's, oh my god, that's so bad. 25 crit multi, some percent ES. Alright, well, a fairly disappointing tab worth of gear today. We had one success, and I don't even know if that's going to sell at 5C, but I'm definitely going to start it there. However, I do have a few items that I set aside to price check. And let me get a PoE trade window going so that we can do just that. Well, let me show you the item first. We're going to be starting with this amulet here, Grim Scarab. 20% spell damage, which I think it goes up to 22, might just be 20. I don't know. It's a very high spell damage roll. The 20% ES, that goes up to 22. So we've still got a high roll there. 44 lightning res, and even the mana can be nice, and even maybe the lightning damage can be nice, and stats aren't bad. So really, there's nothing that's absolutely wasted on this amulet. And 20% ES is really, 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 really good. Because you can't craft percent ES as much. I think you can still craft it on amulets, right? Percent evasion can be applied to, or ES can be applied to amulets, but you can't do it on rings anymore, so you can't get as much percent ES. So it's real nice to find it, and that's going to stay in the blessing font for later. Faux Eye 2-stone ring for 4C. Sure thing, friend. Let's see, what is this? 45 life, some resists, some flat fizz, and yeah, even the mana. This guy might be mind over matter. Probably not as a slayer, but you never know. Here you are, friend. Enjoy your ring. Alright, we're going to get price checking. So, what we're going to be prioritizing here is the spell damage and the percentage ES. Energy shield. Percent increased energy shield. We're going to go with... I actually want to just go with 20. I'm going to keep it real strict. And spell damage. We'll tighten up, we'll loosen up this search rather if we need to. So we'll go with 15 spell damage. And it does have one good resist. And it's a single resist. So you could search for pseudo total elemental resistances of 40 plus or something like that. But since it's one good resist, and I want something that's really similar to this, I want something that's just got the one. So all of its resistance value tied up into just one high tier resist. I'm just going to do this instead, which is something that, if you've watched the series for a while, I'm sure you've seen me do in the past, but I'm going to look for a 40%, oops. We're going to look for one 40% elemental resistance, as well as 20% ES, 15% spell damage, and, we'll go with that. It does have a good amount of strength on it, but we'll just manually compare. I don't think we'll get too many results here? 136. Ooh, that's because I didn't specify amulet. The fact there's 136 results without specifying amulet means that we might have something pretty rare in our hands, though. Let's see. No results. Okay. It's not as encouraging. 20% increased maximum energy shield. That's, I'm looking for the wrong thing. I thought so. Percentage increased maximum. 20%. There. Let's try this again. 83 results. That makes more sense. So, we are not in an ES meta, by the way, so I don't expect this to be super expensive, but I expect it to have some amount of value. We're going to tick off online mode, and I'm going to add a mod of strength, because I'm actually going to specify strength here, because strength is useful for a lot of ES builds. This goes up to, what, 52? This is 52 strength, so I'm going to put in 45 minimum strength and see what else we come up with. One result for 50C. 4 days up, though. It's a lot cleaner than ours, but I mean, as I said, the other rolls in ours could be useful. Someone could use the lightning damage or the mana. Let's see offline as well. I want more than just one result to compare this against. Well, I guess I'm not getting what I want. Let's lower this to 35. We'll leave it offline as well. 3 results. 5C. This is very close to ours. But it has cold damage to attacks instead of mana. Mana is arguably more useful, so we could do more than 5C. It's also just been up for 7 hours, so might not be super accurate. I think with this on the market, this is actually really close to ours. It just doesn't have the mana or the lightning damage. We can probably get a sale for 10C on this amulet. Maybe try and go over him a little bit. It's been up for 2 days, and he may not have been online for that whole time, though he's online right now. Let's start it at 15, and I'll lower it a bit over time, because you never know, someone might specifically want that lightning damage or mana. So I'm going to bump the price up a little bit more than what he's got there. Alright. I'm going to price check. Let's go with one other piece of jewelry. Keep the episode short. We'll save one of these for the other episodes. Let's go with another amulet. Let's do some amulet price checking today. That's got... We just did a % ES amulet, actually. We'll do this ring. I want to keep it varied. So, hang on. This ring has got 40 flat ES, so we've got a good amount of ES gear today. It's got 40 flat ES, 61 total fire resistance, which could be really nice for a build that just needs to solve a fire resistance problem in this slot. A little bit of lightning res and some rarity and cold damage. So, what we're going to do is... How do we want to search for this? We're going to go for total resistance this time, instead of the resistance search that we used on this last amulet. So make sure that I'm searching for a ring. And resistance, pseudo total elemental resistance of, we've got 61 plus 39 is that 100? Yeah, it is. That's 100. That's exactly 100. Okay. Pseudo total elemental resistance of 90. Let's go with. And again, energy shield gear is not nearly as expensive as it used to be. We're into the life meta, but it's still worth trying to sell. There's still people out there who are going to be playing ES builds. And what we could do is add cold, fire, and lightning damage to attacks, but they actually have like different values. I'd argue that with the prevalence of frost blades, cold damage might be more valuable at the moment. Fire damage on rings is really nice, but you'd need a life ring for that to be really nice, because Brutus Lead Sprinkler is going to be looking for that. So we'll just put in cold damage to attacks. What have we got here? 8 to 19, so 19 plus 8 divided by 2. I can't do that in my head, but I can do it here. 8 divided by 2. Ah, that's order of operations. Order of operations is going to be 8 divided by 2. 19 plus 8 over 2. It's 13.5. Okay. So we can go ahead and search for that. And we've got a little bit of rarity, which isn't going to really up the price at all. So I'm not going to bother putting it in. 62 results. We're starting at 1C. This is really similar to ours. It's not as heavily leaning towards one specific resist, but it does have even more damage, and it's only 1 chaos. It's been up for 3 days. This as well is only 1 chaos. It's got a little bit of strength, which I guess could help it. So yeah, we're definitely not in an ES meta if rings like this are going for 1C, but we could probably still get a chaos out of it, maybe 2. So I'm going to start it at 2 and we'll lower it if it doesn't sell. Alright, that's going to be it for the episode today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. I certainly did, about the value of that ring in the end. I thought it was going to be a few chaos more, maybe 4 or 5, but, you know, so goes the way of the ES meta. Thank you all for joining me. As I said, I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, and you don't want to have to wait until Price Check 11 comes out to hear more of me, or be entertained further by your friend Octavian, you can always join me on my stream. The link will be down in the description below the video, but it's twitch.tv/Octavian0 if you can't read. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see you in episode 11.